it's going. Okay, hi, it's Ray's mom. Let's see, I'm in my husband's man cave today. Hair's up because it's the second day of my due. Don't have clients till later. So I thought I'd come and talk to you guys for a little bit. And bring my coffee here. Love Britain. Hello. Anyway, so I wrote a little bit of thing on my Facebook last night, mostly to my friends and my family. And I'm not making that stuff public as of yet, because this whole vlogging thing is new to me, and, you know, just trying to figure it all out still. But I'd like to talk today about discrimination. And what I mean when I say discrimination, what I mean is discrimination not just in the world, because obviously the LGBT community and the trans community are all going to have a rough time here. You know, fighting for their rights, just to be able to pee, for crying out loud. You know, the big debate that I see trending is the bathroom debate, and worried that other people's children, if they go in there, are going to be violated by pedophiles that want to sneak in and say they're trans or say they're gay, or, you know, just whatever they identify with. And one of the people that had posted on my page, you know, it was pretty much true. She's a young girl. She's not LGBT. She's straight as an arrow. But she's also a straight shooter. She doesn't put up with a lot of bullshit. And I love this girl very much. She's a daughter of a friend of mine. And what she wrote was that, you know, we have to understand, which is, I believe, and which is true, what we have to understand is creepers and pedophiles and people that are going to want to go after our kids are going to find creative ways to do it, whether there's those laws out there or not. And all I'm trying to do personally is make sure that my child has a place that they can, you know, pee or take a shit or whatever it is they need to do, you know, without having any kind of retribution. Obviously, before top surgery, you know, they're not passable as a man. Even though they are a man on the inside, they're not passable. So therefore, they go into the female bathrooms, even though they look like a dude. They're on their 3rd week right now of testosterone shots. And starting to feel some effects, things like that, but I'll let Ray explain that to you in their video. Hopefully they'll have another one coming out today. Where was I? I hate it when I do that. I know you're all screaming at me exactly what I was saying, but I can't remember what that was. Oh, anyway, they go into the female bathroom first. But once, you know, a year of testosterone and top surgery happens, they're going to want to identify with who they feel that they are, or who they are, and go into the male bathroom. And see, that's the part that scares the shit out of me, because what I'm worried about is somebody wanting to challenge my child just because they want to take a pee, you know? Granted, my child's not going to be able to stand up and pee and be at a stall and things like that. They'll have to go into a stall that has a door and all that just to be able to pee, but it's going to make them comfortable. And I understand there's parents out there that could give a shit less whether my child's comfortable, because it's more about their children being comfortable, being able to go to the bathroom, because a lot of it is just not understanding how LGBT works. Half the time I don't understand, but that's why I'm doing these videos, so that it helps to have me understand more. The more I go to my group and have other parents of other trans kids, you know, there's things that just make sense. And that's all I want, is just, you know, my child to be able to go to the bathroom and not have to have any kind of retribution. But when I was talking about discrimination, one of the things I was talking about is not just out there in the world, but within the family. Me personally, the people that I've told, I don't keep it secret. I don't sit there and announce it with a bullhorn, mind you. And I guess some would say what I'm doing right now is a bullhorn, but no, for me it's just trying to teach understanding within not just my own family, but also, you know, friends and just anybody, now that this is out on YouTube, just anybody, to try to be able to show you that, you know, they're people just like you and me. And, you know, I find nothing wrong with my child. You know, my child is sheer perfection, just like the other 3 children that I have. And, it's just something that they have to contend with, is, you know, for the rest of their lives. And no different than somebody having to wear glasses the rest of their lives because the eyes that they were born with didn't do exactly what they were supposed to do and be completely what someone would consider perfect or 20/20 or whatever. So my child will always have to take testosterone to be who they are. My child will always have to take some level of medication to be as a mood stabilizer because they have been diagnosed with manic depression and bipolar. Doesn't make them less of a person, because actually they're pretty kind of awesome. They're a very caring, thoughtful, wonderful, you know, person, child. I say child because they're still my child, but I'll probably say that until the day they die, because that's my baby, you know. And I don't mean just baby, the family. I just mean all of my children are my babies. But I was recently out of town visiting family where I'm from in the Midwest, and I had sat down with my dad, and I was like, I suppose you've probably seen what's happening on our Facebooks. He's like, you know, he's like, yeah. Well, my dad is the kind of guy that's the perfect mix between Archie Bunker and the Wonder Years dad. So you guys can go on, you know, the internet right now and check out who the hell I'm talking about, and you'll be like, oh yeah. But he's not as much as he used to be, because he can't help it. He's had to change with the times. He's had to change with his children. You know, there's been a lot of diversity in our own family, just within my 4 children and my 2 brothers and their wives. And, you know, there's been a lot of things that have changed. And, you know, Dad's got to get on board. He's never somebody that's going to be completely and totally against what's happening, as far as like, oh yeah, I'm cutting you off. It's, you know, that's not my dad at all. But I'm sure, you know, he doesn't understand, and he still doesn't understand, you know. And basically what my general consensus has been, he feels like he doesn't understand it. My husband, her stepfather, feels like he doesn't understand it. And I'm sure there's going to be more people within the family that don't understand it. Oh, they're the grandparents on my ex-husband's side. Got a phone call from my ex-mother-in-law, and you know, super duper Christian, Bible Belt, you know, even when Ray had come out as gay, saying, you know, I love you, but I'm not going to support it, and I wouldn't come to a wedding, things like that. But found out that Ray was going through what Ray's going through, and basically, you know, said that no matter what, we're always going to love Rachel. And, you know, I didn't correct, because they're 80. I feel that will correct itself when they see a man in front of them with a full beard and looking like a man. But that's going to take time. But at least if we get to this point of no matter what, we all still love Ray. You know, my dad had said the same thing. I still love, you know, Rachel, and I'm always going to love Rachel. And you know, we've been calling Rachel Rachel for the last 19 years, and that's where everybody gets stuck. And for me, it took me going even to my support group to start saying Ray, you know, and it doesn't necessarily hurt, but knowing how my husband felt and not wanting to tiptoe, I wanted to be able to talk about it and express myself. You know, he and I had to have a couple of heart-to-hearts, and again, it wasn't that he was against Ray at any point. A lot of times when people come against you, what their problem is fear. And it's fear of change, fear of not knowing what to say or what to do. And I know, like my dad, you know, coming up, if he couldn't control what was happening, he'd just get pissed off at it. And, you know, I'm sure that's a little bit of all of that. And I even expressed that to my husband. Do you think it might be coming from fear? He goes, it could be, because everything's going to change. And I'm like, yeah, but it's just physical that's changing. Ray's always been Ray. Ray's always been the sweet, loving, wonderful person that they are, and that's not going to change, you know. I mean, granted, you know, testosterone's a bitch, and their attitude is quick to anger, and you know, that's something they got to get under control, because they're not even medicated right now with the bipolar, which is another, you know, just another facet. The other part of what I'm trying to do right now is make sure that in the process of all of this, which I know is difficult on Ray, but life is hard, and so it's teaching Ray to grow up at the same time as they're going through this. So, you know, I don't sit there and be like, oh, don't worry, Mommy, I'll take care of it, or, you know, which is, I was quick to do before 18, because I felt like that was my job. And now that they are 19, they're having to, you know, try to find their doctors and find a therapist and find support and, you know, stuff that they need 2 hours away from where we are. We have a lot here in my town, my city, but where they're at 2 hours away, they haven't really been able to delve too far into where to find those resources. So, you know, all I can do is suggest and send links and things like that. But, you know, when it comes down to it, you got to make the phone calls. You got to put in the work. And yes, it's hard. And yes, it's discouraging. And it's hard, especially when you come up against my child right now has a chip on their shoulder about, you know, unless I go to an LBGT friendly doctor just to be able to be, for being sick, you know, I'm not going to go because I have a chip on their shoulder. I'm like, well, you're kind of walking in there with a chip on your shoulder to start because you assume that's the way they're going to be. You know, if you go in with an open heart and a happy heart, how about you know, just go in because you're feeling crappy and you need medicine, not because you're worried about this LBGT. You can figure that stuff out later. You know, they take a Hippocratic oath on purpose to make sure that they're not going to be coming at you and be discriminatory, because they have to treat you no different than, you know, a mass murderer knowing they murdered a whole bunch of people, and then they go to the ER and the people are going, sorry, can't take care of them because, you know, they just murdered a bunch of people. No, they have to take care of them. Granted, my child's not a murderer, and that's not what I'm talking about. I just mean the extremes is how I'm trying to explain it. But, you know, I just wanted to also throw out there as an ending to this is I am not going to be PC. This is all my own personal opinions and thoughts and feelings as Ray's mom and what I'm going through as Ray's mom. So, you know, if you're all going to get butthurt and bullshit like that over everything I say, then, you know, feel free to unsubscribe. But, you know, I'm bringing it raw, I'm bringing it real, because that's pretty much what life's going to be giving me and giving Ray and giving everybody that's involved in this, you know. So you got to take kind of the bull by the horns and just deal. You know, there's too many pussies around dealing with, you know, everybody getting their feelings hurt about this, that, or the other. Which is, it's time to fucking grow up, dude. You know, I mean, that's kind of the consensus I have with Ray, too, when they're going through what they're going through. You just got to fucking grow up. It's time. And, you know, the more we, oh, hi, Duck. I have a pug. The more we, just love one another and try to understand, as opposed to, you know, like constantly get our feelings hurt, you know, or, you know, for me, I always tell my kids, you know, you pick your battles, you know, you're going to have a lot of stuff at you. Pick your battles. Don't choose to fight every single person that wants to hurt you, because they very well could be going through something as well. And it's just a reaction to something you didn't even do. And, you know, the more we sow a lot of goodness and light, it was like, that's my general consensus these days, just goodness and light, just throw it back at somebody. You know, they're being awful to you. Make sure you tell them how much you care about them, you know. Yes, it's difficult when you're in the moment and you're all huffed up and pissed off and all that stuff, but take a breath and think, what are they going through? You know, what has gotten them to this point? How did they grow up? You know, I am shaped completely by my parents. I have my father's temper. I have probably my mother's stubbornness, but I also have my mother's good heart and my dad's work ethic, you know, my dad's sense of humor. You know, I'm shaped exactly by my parents, but I've also, you know, learned at 45 years old, because I just had a birthday last week, that, that what to identify or how to identify, what is like what they call generational curse, and what is something I can control, you know. And even with the generational curses, I do try. I mean, yes, I have a wicked temper, especially a mama bear temper. So when somebody wants to come against my kid, I pretty much want to cut them at the throat. But I also have to think that they were probably brought up a certain way, and that's why they think that they think the way they do. And this is why Ray and I are doing this series, to try to educate and you know, throw a different light on how everybody's feeling. Because most everything I'm seeing, again, about this bathroom debate is just pedophiles and creepy people, and I don't want men in with my daughter, and I don't want, you know, women in with my sons, and, you know, I mean, it's so much deeper than that. But until somebody expresses how much deeper that is, my child had said to someone today, you know, going into a locker room, probably with my girlfriend, is not to go and try to bang my girlfriend. It's to go in to make sure that I can, you know, they can help me put my binder on because it's so tight, to try to get that on, or to help build me up while I'm doing that, because my self-esteem is so low while I'm going through this, because I'm in the body I don't want, and I haven't had top surgery yet, and everything. Everybody wants to sexualize it and make it into just this creepy thing. And I'm not saying that some idiot and many idiots are going to go out and try to use this to be able to like, I'm going to go after kids. But, you just can't be dumbasses. You just have to, and I'm not saying parents are dumbasses. All I'm saying is like, when my kids were younger, I made sure, like, if my son was young, 7, 8, 9, and just like, I can go by myself, Mom, or whatever, my foot had that door halfway cracked as I'm sitting in there going, you all right, bud? You good? You okay, bud? I don't care if men were coming in. I don't give a shit who was going in and out of there. My foot was in that door to make sure my boy was good. So he can have his independence that he wanted, but also that he was protected from predators. No different than me going in with my daughters. We used to have a place down on the bay, and it was like a campground, and they had like communal showers. I'd never send my daughters in there, even at 11, 12, 13, 14, whatever, by themselves. We all had our own shower stalls, and we all would shower at the same time, because I'm going to make sure my kids are protected. No different than my husband did with the boys. So, protecting your children from predators is something we're always going to have to do, because the predators are always out there. They're not going to stop. And they're just going to use bullshit like this to be able to use it towards their advantage to get children. So you just got to hunker down and do what you've been doing and protect your kids. That's it. No different than what I'm doing to protect my child from being vilified and, I just don't want that fucking phone call in the middle of the night. My kid's been beaten because they went into a men's bathroom to take a piss, and my child, is not a freak. My child is not somebody that should be beaten because of who they are. And everybody's going to have their opinion. You got to respect my opinion, and I got to respect your opinion. And that's just how life is, period. Whether it's LGBTQ, whether it's, interracial relationships, whether it's religion, it doesn't matter. None of that matters, because, love is going to win no matter what. And that's what we need to sow back out into the universe instead of all this petty bullshit. So that's pretty much it. What I had to say today was just, sow the love. Go out there and sow the love. Think of the other person. Think of the other person in every situation that you're in, to be able to try to think of what they might be going through before you react and try to attack somebody. So thanks for listening. This is Ray's mom. Love ya.